Dr. Fauci.
Our next expert is Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Tony knows what to do.
Dr. Anthony S. Fauci.
Tony and I.
We turn now to Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fauci.
My name is Dr. Tony Fauci. I'm the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at NIH.
Even as a boy, Tony was distinguished by his courage. In a neighborhood full of Brooklyn Dodgers fans, he rooted for the Yankees.
So I was in an Italian and American section called Bensonhurst, and it was a very family-oriented, very warm, nurturing. My father is first generation. His father was born in Italy, came to the United States at the turn of the 19th to 20th century. They called him Doc. Back then, pharmacists were called Doc because many people who either couldn't afford to go to a doctor or didn't want to take the time of making an appointment would go in to their neighborhood pharmacy.
And he still quotes what he learned from Jesuit teaching: precision of thought, economy of expression. And now you know why he never ran for public office.
He was a great basketball player. Did anybody know that? He was a little on the short side for the NBA, but he was talented.
And graduated first in his class in 1966 at Cornell Medical College.
Noted public health scholars were opining and even testifying before the United States Congress that with the advent of antibiotics and vaccines and public health measures, quote, the war against infectious diseases had been won. At that time, I was on my way to begin, of all things, a fellowship in infectious diseases at the National Institutes of Health. I sort of felt like I was going to Miami to be a ski instructor.
Before this malady even had a name, it had a fierce opponent in Dr. Anthony Fauci.
This is a new disease, at least in the United States.
Just struck me as an oddity that otherwise healthy men and another oddity, otherwise healthy gay men, got an infection that you virtually never see in someone with a normal immune system. And at that point, it was like, oh my God, we're dealing with something new.
I decided I was going to stop what I had been doing and devote myself completely to studying what I felt would be an enormously difficult disease, and it unfortunately turned out that that was the case.
And that's an issue that I really must emphasize over and over again, that there is no scientific evidence at all that it can be transmitted by casual contact.
One of the toughest decisions, I had a few, was when I made a decision during the middle of the early years of the AIDS pandemic to bring the activist community into our deliberations, because most of the scientific community, including my own staff, were totally against that.
But I think you have to...
If you start that business about science isn't done that way, I'm going to come down there and slap your face.
All right, Larry, hang on for a second.
Remarkably, He has gone from being burned in effigy by AIDS activists in the early days of the epidemic to winning their trust and respect.
You know, I want to say something about Tony Fauci, because I think the world must think I hate him or something, the way I'm going on tonight. I love Tony. Actually, I think I probably have a more complicated relationship with Tony than anybody in my entire life. He is a man, an ordinary man, who is being asked to play God, and he is being punished because he cannot be God. And that is a terrible situation to be in, to be the lightning rod for all of us. But he is there, and he has been this incredible fighter for us and for AIDS.
I love you, Larry.
How many presidents have you known personally?
Essentially all of them to a different degree. I knew President George H.W. Bush very well.
Who are the ones that you would point out to young Americans as figures who should inspire this country?
I think of Dr. Fauci. Probably never heard of him. Well, you did. Ann heard him. He's a very fine research top doctor at National Institute of Health, working hard doing something about research on this disease of AIDS.
I didn't see the debate. I was out of town coming in on a plane, and the next morning when I walked into the NIH, as I walked into the lobby, people started going like this, and I said, what is this all about? I said, what do you mean what's this all about? The president called you a hero during a national debate that was seen by 100 million people, and I was totally surprised.
For his determined and aggressive efforts to help others live longer and healthier lives, I'm proud to award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Dr. Anthony S. Fauci.
Got to be quite close with President George W. Bush. He took a very keen interest in global HIV/AIDS and allowed me to be one of the architects of the program, which has now transformed HIV globally, the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR. But we can end it as a global pandemic. It's within our grasp. It was started and sustained by the phenomenal work of our president, and we just need, as a society, to just take it over the goal line. And I think we can do it. I really do, Barbara. I believe we can.
Under 6 administrations, who has been the coolest president that you have worked with?
Well, there's not a chance in the world I'm going to answer that one.
Leadership takes many forms, including the quiet leadership of example.
I said earlier today that I hope we can do this by Easter.
You don't make the timeline. The virus makes the timeline.
Anybody that needs a test gets a test. They're there. They have the tests. And the tests are beautiful.
The idea of anybody getting it easily, the way people in other countries are doing it, we're not set up for that. Do I think we should be? Yes, but we're not.
Now, you're 74.
Right.
How long are you going to work?
I'm just going to keep doing it until I'm not effective. And right now I'm as energetic and I believe as effective as I've ever been.
Fauci.